On my first day in this new world, I slapped the divorce papers right onto the icy female CEO's desk. Victoria Sterling, sign it. I'm done serving you people. According to the plot, she was supposed to have her bodyguards break my legs and toss me out of the villa. I was ready for the injury scam. I'd even sent the link for a wheelchair on Wish. To customer service. But the next second, the high and mighty Victoria Sterling dropped to her knees with a thud, eyes red-rimmed, clinging to my thigh for dear life. Hubby, I was wrong. Please don't go. I'll give you half the assets. No, take it all. The kids will take your last name. Hell, I'll take your last name. Immediately after, my mother-in-law, Eleanor, and brother-in-law, Preston, who usually treated me like a punching bag, burst in. One was holding a bowl of premium bird's nest soup to feed me, and the other was on the floor, trying to shine my shoes. I looked at this room, full of lunatics, trembling. It was over. This wealthy family was definitely fattening me up for the slaughter. I woke up in a bed large enough to sleep 5 of me, memories that didn't belong to me flooding my brain. My name is Jack Rivers, and I had transmigrated into a melodrama novel as the cannon fodder live-in son-in-law. The original host was an orphan who married into the Sterling family, where his daily routine consisted of insults from his mother-in-law, beatings from his brother-in-law, and the cold shoulder from his nominal wife, Victoria. The ultimate ending? To protect the Sterling family, he gets hit by a car driven by the villain, leaving no remains. I sucked in a cold breath. Who would want this kind of blessing? No, I had to run. Divorce. I needed a divorce immediately. Get a severance package and bolt. That was the only way to survive. According to memory, it was breakfast time, the original host's daily torture session. Perfect. I go down there cause a scene and force them to divorce me. I deliberately dug out the host's rattiest boxers and flip-flops, mussed my hair into a bird's nest, and marched downstairs aggressively. In a massive dining room, my mother-in-law Eleanor, brother-in-law Preston, and wife Victoria were already seated formally. Seeing me descend, 3 gazes locked onto me instantly. The atmosphere was oppressive. I sneered internally. Here it comes, the classic 3-judge tribunal. I shuffled my flip-flops over to Eleanor. Right in front of this germaphobe, I lifted my foot and vigorously picked at my toes. Then I brought my hand to my nose and took a deep sniff. Zesty. According to the plot, Eleanor should be screaming for me to get out and banning me from eating. However, not only did she not get angry, she revealed a smile that could only be described as benevolent. Our Jack is just so unpretentious. A true, free spirit. As she spoke, she picked up a steaming bowl of soup from the table. Jack, dear, did you sleep well? Quick, Mom stewed your favorite top-tier bloodbird's nest soup. It's good for your health. I looked at the dark red soup, my mind going blank. Favorite? In the original host's memory, he didn't even know what bird's nest soup looked like. This was definitely poisoned. They wanted to poison me to legally seize my few raggy clothes? I took the bowl, and under their expectant gazes, I tilted my hand and poured the soup directly onto the floor. The polished marble was instantly a mess. I looked at Eleanor provocatively. Oops, hand slipped. Now, can I get the hell out? Eleanor's eyes instantly reddened, huge tears rolling down. Instead of scolding me, she spoke in a tone mixed with relief and heartache. I knew it. Our Jack has such a kind heart. He must have felt this soup was too expensive and felt guilty eating it himself. He'd rather pour it out than waste a life taken from nature. She clutched her chest, looking like she might faint from emotion. Son-in-law, you are truly accumulating good karma. Me? Is this old woman insane? Did a donkey kick her in the head? Just then, Preston shot up from his chair. He clenched his fists, walking toward me with a face full of rage. Yes, this was the rhythm. According to the original plot, he would punch me in the face and call me a useless piece of trash. I immediately squatted down, covering my head in the standard defensive posture. Not the face. I need it for the insurance claim. The expected fist didn't land. Instead, there was a thud. Preston had actually slid to his knees in front of me. He held the flip-flop I had accidentally flung off while picking my toes earlier with both hands, his posture as reverent as a pilgrim. Bro-in-law, the floor is cold. Put your shoe on. Don't freeze your feet. It's my fault. I shouldn't let you wear such tattered slippers. I'll go buy you the best ones in the world right now. Bro-in-law. A shiver ran through my entire body, goosebumps erupting everywhere. Didn't this kid usually call me hey, or that loser? Before I could recover from the shock, a voice came from the head of the table. Stop making noise. It was Victoria. She still wore that frosty expression, but the mockery and impatience were gone from her tone. I decided to pour fuel on the fire and target her. What noise? Who are you showing that resting bitch face to all day? People would think I owe you $8 million. Victoria's body stiffened. She stood up and walked toward me step by step. It was over. She was definitely calling the bodyguards now. I was already calculating which broken leg would be more cost-effective and if the settlement money would be enough to buy a trailer in rural Idaho. Victoria stopped in front of me and reached out. I instinctively closed my eyes. 1 second, 2 seconds. The slap didn't come. Instead, my chin was gently lifted. Victoria looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before, a mix of guilt and adoration. Does your throat hurt from yelling so much? She turned and coldly ordered the butler. Go. Call the family doctor to check my husband's throat. Also, pass down the order. From today on, no one in the villa is allowed to speak above 60 decibels. Anyone who dares disturb my husband's rest gets thrown out immediately. I was completely dumbfounded. What is happening? Was the whole family possessed? Or was this a new type of psychological torture? They surrounded me, asking about my health, insisting I sit at the head of the table. I didn't move my chopsticks, so no one dared to touch the feast of delicacies. Scared into a sudden need to pee, I said I had to go to the bathroom. All 3 of them actually tried to follow me in, saying they wanted to assist me. I scrambled into the bathroom and locked myself in, leaning against the door, my heart pounding wildly. This was definitely a long con. They were putting me on a pedestal, fattening me up, just to find an excuse to off me. No, I couldn't sit and wait for death. I couldn't stay in the Sterling house another day. Early the next morning, I refused the chauffeur and ignored the row of luxury cars in the garage. I unlocked a shared bike with an app. According to the host's memory, he worked as a janitor at Sterling Corp, responsible for cleaning toilets. I was going to work. I was going to scrub toilets. I was going to ride this crappy bike through the city, humiliating the Sterling family completely. Let's see if they divorce me then. I hummed a tune, pedaling hard, the cool breeze blowing through my boxers, feeling one step closer to freedom. After riding for a short while, I felt something was wrong. Behind me, a long line of honking cars had created a traffic jam. I looked back and almost fell off the bike. A black Rolls-Royce Phantom was following me at a snail's pace. Driving it was Victoria Sterling. She held the steering wheel with one hand and a megaphone in the other, shouting at the surrounding vehicles. Make way! Don't startle my husband. Anyone who dares overtake him, Sterling Corp will blacklist you. The surrounding drivers were furious but dared not speak, looking at me like I was a monster. My face burned. I wished a crack would open in the ground so I could crawl in. Was this an escort? This was a public shaming parade. Finally arriving at the Sterling Corp building, I ditched the bike and ran inside as if fleeing for my life. Where's my mop? Where's my bucket? I grabbed a receptionist and asked. The receptionist turned pale and was about to call security when Preston rushed over like a gust of wind. Bro-in-law, how can you do this kind of menial work? Behind him were 2 cleaning ladies, one holding a mop, the other a bucket. I snatched the mop and threw it over my shoulder. Cut the crap. I'm cleaning these toilets today. I deliberately charged toward the women's restroom. The security guard at the door saw this and moved to stop me, but Preston delivered a flying kick, sending him flying 10 feet away. Are you blind? Anyone who dares stop my brother-in-law from experiencing life is an enemy of Preston Sterling. The guard groaned on the floor, looking at me with fear and confusion. I ignored them and rushed into the women's restroom. It was empty, of course. I mopped randomly for a bit, then carried a bucket of dirty water out. In the lobby, all the employees stopped in their tracks, looking at me in horror. Victoria was standing in the center of the crowd. Perfect opportunity. I slipped, and the bucket in my hand flew in a perfect parabola toward Victoria. Splash! The filthy water, mixed with grime, soaked Victoria from head to toe. Her 6-figure haute couture suit was instantly ruined. The entire lobby gasped. Everyone thought I was dead meat. I thought so too, and I was already looking forward to it. However, Victoria just calmly wiped the water droplets from her face. She walked up to me, not angry, not shouting. Instead, she took a handkerchief from her pocket and gently wiped the dirty water off my hands. Are your hands cold? Was the water temperature okay? Next time I'll have them add some hot water. Are you tired? Should we call it a day? I was completely numb. How is this woman's brain wired? Soaked in dirty water. Shouldn't she explode on the spot? I was half dragged, half carried by Preston and several executives into the CEO's private elevator. The moment the doors closed, my heart skipped a beat. This was it. The dagger was revealed. They were taking me to the roof to push me off and frame it as a suicide. It was just me and Victoria in the elevator. She advanced on me step by step until I was backed into the corner. She reached out toward my chest. Scared out of my wits, I threw my hands up and shouted, "I surrender. The money is in my pants pocket. I'll take it out myself." Victoria's hand froze in midair. It seemed she only wanted to fix my crooked collar. Ding, the top floor. The doors opened to reveal three tall, beautiful secretaries in professional suits. "Good morning, CEO. Good morning, Mr. Rivers." Victoria pulled me out of the elevator and pointed to the most comfortable sofa area in her office. "From now on, this is your workspace." She then pointed to the three beautiful secretaries. "They're your assistants. If you need anything, just order them. Your job description is simple." Victoria paused, then said, "Test snacks for me, play test games, and supervise my work." Listening to this absurd arrangement, a chill went down my spine. This wasn't a job. It was surveillance. Corporate sabotage. They definitely wanted to make the whole company jealous of me, isolate me, and then find an excuse to crush me under their feet. I looked at Victoria's expressionless face, and an even crazier plan surged in my mind. "Just you wait. At next Monday's board meeting, I'm going to ruin the Sterling family's reputation." Monday, Sterling Corp top floor conference room. The atmosphere was solemn and oppressive. A group of shareholders in suits sat upright, listening to the CFO's report. Bang! I kicked the conference room door open. Everyone's eyes focused on me. I was wearing a bright yellow SpongeBob SquarePants pajama set, flip-flops on my feet, and a lollipop in my mouth. I swaggered in and plopped down in the empty seat next to Victoria. The room went deathly silent. A balding shareholder was the first to attack. This was Director Higgins, a company veteran and a nemesis of the Sterling family in my past life. "CEO Sterling, this is a board meeting, not a farmer's market. Letting a clueless live-in son-in-law sit here? Where is the decorum?" I rejoiced internally. "Yes, scold me. Louder." Instead of shrinking back, I threw my feet up onto the conference table and looked at Higgins provocatively. "Who are you calling out, old man? You baldy, not only is your head shiny, but your breath stinks. I can smell that old man smell from 20 feet away." Higgins turned red, pointing at me, trembling. You, security. Where is security? Get this lunatic out of here." Victoria slammed her hand on the table. Smack! The temperature in the room dropped instantly. "Director Higgins." Her voice carried zero emotion. "My husband is right. Your toupee really needs replacing. It's in poor taste. Also, remember to brush your teeth before meetings, or just don't open your mouth." Higgins' face turned from red to liver purple. Next to me, Preston proved to be a genius hype man. "My brother-in-law insults people with such rhythm. Listen to that. Shiny head, breath stinks. It's not just factually accurate, it's poetic. I think bro-in-law isn't just a writer, but a hidden musician." Me? I'm cursing people out, not writing poetry, damn it. The meeting continued. The big screen began displaying upcoming investment projects. My chance to sabotage was here. I pointed randomly at a project on the screen marked, "High risk, recommend abandoning." It was a new energy project that had already lost $10 million due to immature technology. That one. Invest everything in that one. I think this project has a bright future. Let's dump all the company's money into it. Go big or go home. Listen to me, lose it all. Higgins looked at me like I was an idiot, a sneer appearing on his lips. "CEO Sterling, you hear that? This is the good son-in-law you chose. He wants Sterling Corp to go bankrupt." All the shareholders looked at Victoria, waiting for her to kick me out. Victoria didn't even glance at the project. She ordered her secretary directly. "Listen to my husband. Immediately inject another $300 million into this project. No, make it $500 million. The room went into an uproar. Higgins laughed even harder. "Crazy. The Sterlings have gone crazy. I'll wait to see you lose everything." I was overjoyed. $500 million. Sterling Corp would lose its skin, if not its life. Then Victoria would definitely blame me and kick me to the curb. Freedom was waving at me. Just then, the conference room door burst open. Victoria's chief of staff rushed in, looking agitated, her voice trembling. "CEO Sterling. Huge news. 5 minutes ago, the government released the latest new energy support policy. The project we just invested in has been listed as a key support target. The stock price has already increased tenfold. Dead silence in the conference room. All the shareholders, including Higgins, who was mocking me just moments ago, were now looking at me like I was a god. Those looks were full of shock, worship, and a trace of fear. As if I wasn't spouting nonsense, but was a business deity who calculated everything. The lollipop in my mouth fell to the floor with a clatter. What the hell did I say? Is having good luck my fault too? Seeing the whole room standing to applaud me, and the pride and love overflowing in Victoria's eyes, I broke down. This life is impossible. If the hard approach doesn't work, I'll try the soft one. Since acting suicidal didn't anger them, I had to use the ultimate move. Give you a green hat. I didn't believe a proud woman like Victoria could tolerate her husband cheating in public. I spent all my savings, which was actually pocket money Preston forced on me, to hire a bit part actress. She looked innocent but had a manipulative vibe, a professional homewrecker type. I arranged for her to stage an accidental throw-herself-at-me scene at the business gala hosted by the Sterlings that night. The gala was on the lawn of the Sterling estate, full of celebrities and socialites. I wore the bespoke suit Victoria picked out for me, feeling uncomfortable all over. The timing was right. I winked at the girl. She held a glass of red wine, walking toward me with a swaying gait. Just a step away, she tripped, let out a cry, and fell right into my arms. The red wine in her hand landed squarely on my white shirt. "Oh my, I'm so sorry. Mr. Rivers, I didn't mean to." She lay weakly in my arms, her eyes secretly scanning the surrounding reaction. I was thrilled. This was exactly what I wanted. I grabbed her waist tight and shouted at Victoria, who was nearby. "Wifey, look, wifey, I'm dirty." My shout instantly silenced the venue. Everyone's eyes focused on us, full of shock, disdain, and schadenfreude. I could feel Victoria's gaze, cold enough to freeze me. She would definitely come over, slap me, and announce our divorce. I looked at her expectantly. "Come on, humiliate me." Victoria did walk over. She stood expressionless in front of us, her gaze sweeping over me and the girl. The tension in the room hit its peak. Then, under everyone's jaw-dropping gaze, Victoria pulled a black Amex Centurion card from her clutch. She shoved the card into the girl's hand. "Thank you." Her voice was ice cold. "Thank you for catching my husband just now, so he didn't fall. This is your service fee. Now get out." The girl held the infinite limit black card, completely dumbfounded. I was dumbfounded too. This isn't the script. Shouldn't you hit her? Shouldn't you scold me? Seeing the plan about to fail, I panicked and started blabbering. "No, you can't let her go." I pointed at the girl, looking at Victoria with deep affection. "Actually, I love her. Victoria, let's get a divorce. I want to run away with her." As soon as these words came out, Victoria's body visibly swayed. Her face turned pale instantly, and her eyes reddened at a visible speed. She looked at me, her voice trembling. "Hubby, is there something I'm not doing well enough? Tell me, I can change. Please don't say things like that." Before I could react, my mother-in-law, Eleanor, charged over like an enraged lioness. She didn't charge at me, but directly at the girl. Eleanor grabbed her by the hair and delivered 2 slaps, left and right. "Where did this stray come from? Dare to touch my son-in-law. I'll tear your mouth off." The scene spiraled out of control. Just then, a handsome man in a white suit walked over. His name was Julian Thorne, the male protagonist of the original book, a hypocritical elite Ritterney who had always wanted to swallow up the Sterling family business. Julian walked up to me, a smirk playing on his lips. "Jack Rivers, you've really got some nerve. Living off the Sterlings, yet daring to fool around publicly. A loser like you doesn't deserve Victoria." I looked at him as if seeing a savior. Yes, exactly like that. Humiliate me. Expose me. Make Victoria see my true colors." However, Victoria just glanced at him coldly. "Julian, my family affairs are none of your business." The situation seemed to be in a deadlock. My cheating scheme had seemingly failed again. Julian obviously wasn't going to let it go. He pulled a checkbook from his pocket, scribbled a string of numbers, tore it off, and contemptuously threw it in my face. "This is 10 million. Leave Victoria. Take the money and get out of the city." The check fluttered to the ground. I looked at the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 7 zeros. $10 million. My heart was instantly hit by ecstasy. I had never seen so much money in my life. Trembling with excitement, I bent down with lightning speed to pick up the check. I pressed it tightly against my face, rubbing it happily, then gave Julian an incredibly fawning smile. "Yes, boss. No problem, boss. I'm leaving. Leaving right now. Going as far away as possible." I turned to run, afraid they would change their minds. An icy hand grabbed my arm. It was Victoria. She snatched the check from my hand and, under my heartbroken gaze, tore it into pieces. "Ryop," that sound felt like it was tearing my heart apart. "No." I let out a tragic wail, reaching out to grab the fluttering pieces of paper. "My money. My trailer in Idaho. My happiness for the rest of my life." Victoria ignored me. She turned, raised her hand, and slapped Julian hard across the face. Smack! Crisp and loud. The venue went dead silent. Victoria's voice was full of murderous intent. Who are you trying to humiliate with that pocket change? Can my husband's worth be measured by money? He is priceless. I clutched my chest, in so much pain I couldn't breathe. I pointed at Victoria, shaking with rage. Victoria, you cut off my income. We are sworn enemies. Victoria, however, thought I was standing up for her, angered by Julian's behavior. She looked back at me with a complex gaze, then turned and took the microphone from the MC. She stood in the center of the stage, taking a deep breath. The entire audience focused on her. Guests, I apologize. The theme of tonight's gala needs to change temporarily. Tonight is not a business gala, but my confession. In the past, I was blind. I neglected and hurt the most important person in my life. I am here to offer my sincerest apologies to my husband, Mr. Jack Rivers. Saying this, she bowed deeply in my direction. I backed away in fright. What is this woman doing now? Before I could react, Victoria dropped a bombshell. To make up for my mistakes and prove my resolve, I hereby announce, from today on, I voluntarily transfer 51% of my shares in Sterling Corp to my husband, Mr. Jack Rivers, unconditionally. From now on, he is the largest shareholder of Sterling Corp. Boom! My brain felt like it had been hit by a bomb, going blank. The guests erupted into a massive uproar. 51% of the shares. That was billions of dollars. My legs went weak, and I almost knelt on the ground. It was over. Completely over. This wasn't a reward. It was a shackle. This was tying me firmly to the Sterling family ship, which I didn't know when would sink. Julian's face twisted. He roared like an enraged bull and charged at me. Jack Rivers, I'll kill you. I stood frozen. Come on, beat me to death. Then I can get a huge injury settlement and fly away. Just as Julian's fist was about to smash into my face, a figure flashed over and blocked me. It was Preston. Thud. Preston took the punch solid. He clutched his chest, staggered back 2 steps, then channeled his inner drama queen and dramatically collapsed. Puffed. He even squeezed out some spit to fake blood. Bro-in-law. Run. Protecting bro-in-law is my life's mission. Before I could roast his acting skills, I was hugged tightly by a pair of strong arms. It was Victoria. Her body was trembling slightly, her voice full of fear and resolve. Don't be afraid, hubby. I'm here. In this life, no one will touch a hair on your head. Held by her, smelling her perfume, looking at the dying Preston on the ground and Julian being pinned down by bodyguards, I felt the world spinning. I just wanted a $10 million severance package. Why did you force billions on me and treat me like an emperor? This rich family is toxic. The party ended unhappily. Back at the villa, I called Victoria, Eleanor, and Preston to the living room for a family meeting. I sat on the main sofa, legs crossed, trying to look like a mob boss from a movie, scrutinizing them seriously. Talk. What exactly are you guys trying to do? Did your family join some weird cult? Like the love the son-in-law cult? Or were you all possessed by aliens? I stared at them, trying to see a crack in their facade. Eleanor walked over with a basin of steaming hot water, a fawning smile on her face. Oh, my good son-in-law, you sure know how to joke. Here, you walked all day, you must be tired. Mom will wash your feet to relax you. Saying that, she started to squat down to take off my shoes. I shuddered and reflexively kicked out. Splash! The scalding water spilled all over the floor, almost burning Eleanor's feet. Get away! Who needs your fake kindness? I thought this would finally make her angry. Instead, Eleanor acted like nothing happened, wiping the water from her pant leg with a tissue, her face even showing apology. Right, it's Mom's fault. Good kick. I just tested it. The water was indeed 5 degrees too hot. It's all my carelessness. Almost burned my precious son-in-law. She turned and shouted at the maid nearby. How do you do your job? Can't even handle small things. Don't come in tomorrow. I had absolutely no temper left. I turned my gaze to Preston. You, get down. I pointed to the water on the floor. Lick the water on the floor clean. I was deliberately making it difficult, wanting to see when he would snap. Preston froze for a second. Then, under the shocked gazes of Victoria and me, he didn't say a word and actually dropped to his knees, thud, sticking out his tongue. Don't! I jumped up from the sofa, feeling my worldview shattering. Stop! Crazy! You're all crazy! I pointed at them, backing away step by step until my back hit the wall. What exactly did they go through to become so twisted? Victoria walked slowly toward me, her eyes holding a trace of fanaticism and obsession I couldn't understand. Hubby, stop fussing. Her voice was soft and gentle, teasing my nerves like a feather. It's late. She pushed me onto the sofa behind me, breathing orchid-scented air onto me. Let's make a baby. My brain buzzed, and every hair on my body stood up. Make a baby? Is this an international joke? I struggled with all my might, swearing to resist. No, absolutely not. I am sick. My kidneys are failing. I'm infertile. To save my innocence, I would say anything. Victoria, however, revealed a smile that said, "Everything is under control." She clapped her hands lightly. "It's okay, hubby. I anticipated your concerns." The villa doors opened, and a group of foreign experts in white coats filed in. The leader bowed to Victoria. "Ms. Sterling, the global top male fertility expert team, is on standby." I watched these experts crowd around me, holding various cold instruments I didn't understand. They pointed at me, speaking rapid-fire English. I hugged my junk in terror. To save my last shred of chastity, I used my wits in a crisis and shouted, "Don't come over. Actually, I like men." I pointed randomly at Preston, who looked bewildered. I have feelings for him. Instant silence. Everyone's eyes focused on Preston. Preston. He looked at me, then at his sister, his expression shifting from shock to confusion, and finally to a kind of suicidal resolve. He took a deep breath and nodded solemnly at me. "Bro-in-law, for you I can be gay. Me? Just destroy me. I am tired." Julian soon launched his revenge. He united several families with grudges against the Sterlings and began an all-out suppression of Sterling Corp, cutting off supply chains, poaching core technical staff, maliciously shorting stocks. For a time, Sterling Corp was teetering, its stock price plummeting. Every day, I watched the green numbers dropping on the financial news, laughing inside. Great, finally going bankrupt. Victoria, your karma is me. To speed up this process, I decided to act as a corporate spy, working from the inside to deal the Sterlings a fatal blow. I secretly used a new phone number to text Julian. "Want to destroy the Sterlings? I can help you. Tomorrow night at 10 p.m., the abandoned factory in the West Side. I'll steal the Sterling Company's seal for you." Julian replied quickly, "Good. You better not play tricks." The next night, I slipped out of the villa under the cover of darkness. The so-called seal was, of course, fake. I had spent the afternoon carving it out of a large radish. I even dabbed some red ink on it to make it look decent. I took my radish seal to the abandoned factory. Julian was indeed waiting there. He saw me, eyes full of disdain. "Where is it?" I handed him the radish wrapped in newspaper. He opened it, took a look, and sneered, "Smart move." He handed me an envelope. "Here's 20,000. After it's done, there's another 80,000. I took the money, stuffing it happily into my pocket. After getting the seal, Julian couldn't wait to hold a press conference. Standing under the flashing lights, he announced with high spirits that he had obtained Sterling Corp's internal transfer contract, and Sterling Corp was about to be in his pocket. As he spoke, he triumphantly opened the top-secret contract. However, when the contract was unfolded in front of all the media lenses, 5 large words were scrawled across it. "Julian is a dumbass." Next to it was a vivid drawing of a little turtle in red marker. The reporters fell into dead silence, then erupted into raucous laughter. Flashbulbs went crazy, capturing Julian's face, shifting from smugness to shock, then to an iron gray. Watching the live broadcast, I was dumbfounded. Where was my radish seal? How did it turn into this? I found out later that Preston had seen me sneaking out that night and thought I was playing some new game. He secretly followed me and swapped the radish in my bag for a prank contract he had prepared. He thought I was humiliating Julian this way to vent anger for the family. The press conference became a massive joke. The Sterling seized the opportunity to sue Julian for commercial libel. At the same time, Victoria used thunderous tactics to not only stabilize the stock price, but also launch an acquisition while Julian's company was mired in scandal and plummeting stocks. A few days later, Julian went bankrupt. I heard he was living on the streets, and I felt a bit guilty. After all, he was sort of my brother in hardship. I took the 20,000 he gave me and found him under an overpass. He was unshaven, smelling of alcohol, looking wretched. I walked over and handed him the envelope. "Bro, here's your money back. Keep it for travel expenses." Julian looked at me, his eyes complex. Just as he reached for the money, several black SUVs roared up and screeched to a halt in front of us. Doors opened, and Victoria stepped out with a group of black-suited bodyguards. Seeing Julian's hand reaching toward me, her face turned instantly icy. "What do you think you're doing? Kidnapping my husband?" She didn't give Julian a chance to explain, ordering the bodyguards directly. "Throw him onto a freighter bound for the Congo. Let him mine some diamonds and reflect on his actions." The bodyguards rushed up like wolves and tigers, dragging Julian away. My hand holding the money froze in midair. Victoria walked over, held my hand, her eyes full of approval and pride. Hubby, you are so domineering. I never even thought that using money to humiliate him was the best revenge. Me? I'm not. Don't talk nonsense. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't stay in this house one more day. I had to run away. This time, I planned an incredibly meticulous escape. I didn't alert anyone, just took all my savings, actually just that 20 grand, and my ID. In the dead of night, I crept to the villa wall. It was 10 feet high with electric fencing. Just as I was worrying about how to climb it, Preston walked over in his pajamas, sleepwalking. He walked to the wall, laid down, and assumed a standard human ladder position. Me, although ridiculous, I couldn't miss the chance. I stepped on my cheap brother-in-law's back and successfully flipped over the wall. Freedom. I ran all the way to the main road and flagged down a taxi. Driver, to the airport. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror, nodded, and started the car without a word. I sighed in relief, collapsing in the back seat. But as we drove, something felt wrong. Why was the road getting more desolate? I asked warily, "Driver, are you taking a detour?" The driver slowly turned around, taking off his hat and mask to reveal a face I knew all too well. It was the Sterling family's head of security. He gave me a simple, honest smile. "Mr. Rivers, the madam ordered that since you wanted to go for a joyride, we should accompany you properly." Me? Plan A failed. I was invited back to the villa, but I wasn't giving up. The next day, catching them off guard, I secretly booked a flight to a border town on my phone. I wore a disguise, hat, mask, sunglasses, and successfully sneaked into the airport. To avoid attention, I didn't even go to the VIP lounge. I sat in the main hall and made a cup of instant noodles. Smells so good. Just as I slurped the first mouthful, the airport broadcast suddenly sounded. "Attention please. Attention please. Ms. Victoria Sterling's esteemed husband, Mr. Jack Rivers. Please proceed immediately to VIP Channel 1. Your private Gulfstream G650 is ready on the tarmac. Repeat." The broadcast played 3 times, the voice echoing through the entire terminal. Instantly, everyone's eyes focused on me and the cup of noodles in my hand. My face flushed red down to my neck. Social death. Is this the legendary social death? Even more despairing, Victoria appeared in front of me with a ceremonial squad of flight attendants and bodyguards. They were holding a massive banner. It read, "Warm welcome home to hubby Jack Rivers." I broke down. I threw away the noodles, squatted on the ground, holding my head, and let out a groundhog-like scream. "Ah!" Victoria walked up to me, gently helping me up. "Hubby, what's wrong? Don't you like the welcome ceremony?" I wanted to cry, but had no tears. I just wanted to see some scenery. Hearing this, Victoria snapped her fingers. An assistant behind her immediately handed over a document. "Okay." Victoria patted my head dotingly. "I had someone by this airport. For now on, look at it however you want. Treat it as your backyard." My psychological defenses completely collapsed. I grabbed Victoria by the shoulders, shaking her frantically. "What do you want from me? You like that I'm poor? That I don't shower? That I'm lazy and useless? I'll change. I'll change, okay." Victoria looked at me, her eyes so deep with affection I could drown in them. "No, hubby, you don't need to change. We love that you don't shower, that you don't brush your teeth, that you grind your teeth and snore. We love everything about you." I rolled my eyes back and fell straight backward. Help! In my despair, I suddenly remembered something. In the original novel, Victoria had a white moonlight, the one that got away. A man named Gavin White, her senior in college, gentle and talented. Although they didn't end up together in the book, that was the best chance to set them up. As long as Victoria fell in love with someone else, I could retire. I immediately used my power as Sterling Corp's largest shareholder to find Gavin's contact info. I was pleasantly surprised to find he had just returned to the country. Heaven is helping me. I used Victoria's name to ask Gavin to meet at a high-end restaurant. Then, I lied to Victoria, saying I had a surprise for her. I took her to the restaurant and pushed her into Gavin's private room. Click! I locked the door from the outside. I pulled up a chair and sat at the door, pressing my ear against the wood. I imagined the sparks flying inside, a lonely man and woman rekindling old flames. Then I kicked the door open, take photos as evidence, and leave them with no excuse. Divorce papers, huge settlement, here I come. Soon, sounds really came from the room. Not the sweet nothings I imagined, but bang bang, that's fighting souse, mixed with a man's screams. I was delighted. Was Gavin trying to force himself on her, and Victoria resisting? Then I'd be the hero saving the damsel, highlighting Gavin's scumbag nature, so Victoria would give up on him completely. Excitedly, I kicked the door open, raising my phone and shouting, "Nobody move! Police!" Huh? The scene before me left me dumbstruck. Victoria had one foot planted on Gavin's chest, holding a gleaming steak knife. The tip of the knife was pressed right against Gavin's throat. Gavin was black and blue, his clothes torn, looking absolutely miserable. "Speak." Victoria's voice was as cold as a Siberian winter. "Was it you? Did you trick my husband into bringing me here? What did you want to do to him?" Gavin saw me like he was seeing a savior, crying out, "Jack, help! Your wife is crazy. I'm innocent. I just heard you guys were having a vow renewal ceremony and came back specifically to congratulate you." Vow renewal? What the hell? Before I could figure out the situation, Victoria dropped the knife and rushed over to hug me. She looked at Gavin with a wary expression, as if I were a fragile treasure. "Hubby, were you jealous? Did you not trust me? So you used this method to test me? I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have let him return to the country." I tried desperately to explain. "No, I just wanted you guys to catch up." My explanation, to the Sterling family's ears, became something else entirely. That night, back home, Eleanor and Preston looked at me with eyes full of heartache and self-blame. "It's all our fault, making our son-in-law feel insecure. He must love Victoria too much, love her to the point of anxiety, to do something so extreme. From now on, we must treat him even better, let him feel our wholehearted love." Listening to their delusions, I just wanted to bang my head against the wall. I just want a divorce. Why won't you understand? I got kidnapped. This time it was real. Not a drill, not a script, actual desperados. On my way back from the market, someone threw a sack over my head and tossed me into a foul-smelling van. But I wasn't afraid at all. Having been through so many storms, I was unflappable. This was surely another scene arranged by the Sterlings, wanting me to experience being a hero or to feel how deep their love was. TSK, cliché. I calmly adjusted to a comfortable position inside the sack and even offered a critique. "Hey guys outside, the actors aren't professional enough this time. The smell in this car is too strong. Can the prop department put in some effort?" The car went silent instantly. After a long while, a rough voice sounded viciously. "Kid, shut your mouth, or I'll kill you." Arriving at the location, I was dragged out of the car and thrown into an abandoned warehouse. The leader ripped off the sack, revealing a fierce face. "Kid, do you know why we kidnapped you?" I picked my ear. "I know. Isn't it because I'm now the billionaire husband of CEO Victoria Sterling?" The leader paused, obviously not expecting me to be so cooperative. He waved a knife in front of my face. "Good that you know. Behave. Guess $5 billion, or we chop you up and feed you to the dogs." Hearing this, I got anxious. I snatched the phone from his hand and yelled at him. $5 billion? Who are you looking down on? Do you look down on me, or look down on Victoria? I, the premier shareholder of Sterling Corp, am only worth $5 billion. At least $50 billion. The kidnappers were all stunned, looking at me like I was a lunatic. I ignored them and started teaching them step by step. "You can't write a ransom note like this. It's too amateur. It needs flair, impact. Same with the video. You have to beat me up a bit. Put some blood on my face, tear my clothes, understand? That's how you trigger my wife's desire to save me. And the money comes faster." The kidnappers looked at each other, feeling their worldview under attack. In their entire careers, they probably hadn't seen a hostage as arrogant as me. The call soon connected to Victoria. I put on speaker. On the other end, Victoria's voice was as cold as a demon from hell. "If my husband loses a single hair, I will wipe out your entire family. No, your entire lineage." Hanging up, the leader's legs went soft. Not long after, a deafening roar came from outside the warehouse. Drone swarms, armored vehicles, even a few helicopters. The array was more exaggerated than a Hollywood blockbuster. The kidnappers peed their pants in terror, kneeling on the ground, hugging my legs and crying. "Big brother, sir, we were wrong. Please just leave. We don't want the money. You are like our reborn father." I kick him away. "No way. We agreed on $50 billion, not a penny less. Once I get the money, you have to give me half. That's my rightful getaway fund." Just as I was haggling with the kidnappers, boom, the warehouse door was blown open. Victoria, dressed in all black, rushed in with a group of heavily armed mercenaries. She immediately saw me, sitting in a circle with the kidnappers, playing cards. I was holding a winning hand. I pointed at the bruised and swollen leader and complained to Victoria. "Wifey, they cheated, and they owe me $200. Don't let them leave." Victoria looked at me, stunned for 3 seconds. Then, she coldly ordered the mercenaries behind her. Good. Chop their hands off to entertain my husband. The kidnappers fainted on the spot. Looking at this chaotic scene, I suddenly felt that being an arrogant fox borrowing the tiger's might loser seemed pretty awesome. After the kidnapping incident, the Sterlings held a family banquet to calm my nerves. At the banquet, Preston got drunk. He hugged my thigh, crying snot and tears. Bro-in-law, I am sorry. In the last life, I was drunk, argued with you, and accidentally pushed you down the stairs. I'm not human. I'm an animal. I'm sorry, bro-in-law. The table went silent instantly. My hand holding the chopsticks froze in midair. Last life, pushed downstairs. My brain buzzed as if struck by lightning. I suddenly recalled all the strange behaviors of the Sterling family recently. Eleanor's kindness, Preston's fawning, Victoria's guilt and obsession. All the fragments pieced together into a complete and bizarre truth in this moment. They were all reborn. I used the excuse of going to the bathroom to sneak into Victoria's study. I remembered the bottom drawer of her desk was locked. I found a tool and pried it open. Inside was an exquisite diary. My hands trembling, I opened it. The first page had a line written in blood-red ink. Jack Rivers, I'm sorry. If there is a next life, I will give everything to keep you safe. The diary detailed her experiences in the past life. The Sterling family went bankrupt. Everyone betrayed her. Only I, the nominal husband, stayed. To raise money for her comeback, I sold a kidney on the black market. To save her from enemies, I was hit by a car and died. Every page was soaked with her blood, tears, pain, and endless regret. It turns out I didn't transmigrate into a melodrama, but into a death of the beloved tragedy. I was the dead white moonlight male-led. I walked downstairs holding the diary, feeling complicated. In the living room, Victoria, Eleanor, and Preston all had their heads down like criminals awaiting judgment. Seeing the diary in my hand, Victoria's body trembled violently. She thought I would leave her forever after knowing the truth. Hubby, she wanted to say something, but couldn't get a word out, tears rolling down like broken pearls. Eleanor and Preston dropped to their knees, thud in front of me. Jack, the Sterling family failed you. Beat us, scold us, take it out on us. Please don't leave, Victoria. The atmosphere was intense, the sorrow reaching its peak. I looked at the three of them, crying their hearts out, and was silent for a while. Then I let out a long sigh. All right, stop crying. They looked up, eyeing me with a mix of hope and fear. I tossed the diary onto the table, cleared my throat, and asked seriously, since you're all reborn, do you remember the winning lottery numbers from the last life? Family. I looked at them with disappointment. Why are you crying? Can crying buy dinner? Hurry up while the memories are fresh. Write down all the ways to make money. Otherwise, isn't this rebirth wasted? Watching the three of them dumbfounded, I felt I had grasped the true meaning of life. Screw love and hate. Making money is the way. After the misunderstanding was cleared up, I completely gave up on the idea of divorcing and running away. Since they owed me a life in the past and insisted on paying it back double in this one, why shouldn't I let them? So, I comfortably began my life as the emperor. I established a new set of Sterling family rules. Rule 1. Victoria is responsible for making money. I am responsible for looking pretty. Oh no, responsible for eating and sleeping. Rule 2. Preston is responsible for running my errands, driving, and being a human punching bag. Rule 3. Eleanor is responsible for researching recipes to ensure my meals are never the same. Life became incredibly comfortable. The first thing Victoria did when she came home from work every day was kick off her high heels and kneel by the sofa to massage my feet. At first, I was embarrassed, but then I got used to it. Some media outlet found out about my legendary deeds and insisted on interviewing me about the secret to my success. I held a cigar, looked into the camera, and spoke deeply. First, you need a good appetite. Second, you need a good wife. To sum it up, if you're going to be a kept man, be righteous about it. After that report went out, I became the idol and life mentor of every live-in son-in-law in the country. Julian came back from mining in Africa, tan like a piece of charcoal. He seemed unwilling to give up and wanted revenge. I didn't even bother lifting an eyelid, just made a call. Hey, Preston, bring 3,000 bodyguards and shoo away that fly at the gate. Julian saw the mass of bodyguards outside the villa, rolled his eyes back, and fainted on the spot. Later, Victoria got pregnant. Maybe due to a sympathetic connection, my pregnancy symptoms were worse than hers. Before she threw up, I was hugging the toilet, puking my guts out. The Sterling household was in chaos, treating me like a national treasure. Eleanor and Preston cooked delicious food for me every day. Victoria took maternity leave directly to stay by my side 24 hours a day. I lay on the 500-square-foot bed, wife on the left, brother-in-law on the right, mother-in-law peeling an apple by the bed. I looked at the brilliant crystal chandelier on the ceiling and sighed with satisfaction. Sigh, is this the end of the road for slacking off? It feels so good. Just as I prepared to turn over and continue enjoying this decadent life, a mechanical electronic voice suddenly sounded in my brain. Ding! Detected host's slacker mentality has reached the peak. Binding conditions met. Congratulations, host. Successfully unlocked the ultimate hustler cultivation system. Newbie mission. Please complete 100 push-ups and recite the full text of the Tao Te Ching within 24 hours. Failure will result in electrocution. Me? I raised a middle finger at the empty air. Get lost. Story complete.